Self-love is incomplete without accountability. Okay? And that's one of the biggest things I see missing from this self-love movement is a level of accountability, right? Taking inventory of oneself and one's actions and where you are and why you are where you are and the role you have to play in that accountability, okay? Because when you take accountability for your actions, it gives you power to change them. Self-love is an appreciation. It's the appreciation that one has for oneself, okay? And it's strengthened when you take actions that promote and support your physical well-being, your psychological well-being, and your spiritual well-being. Self-love is holding yourself to a higher standard and demanding a higher standard for yourself. And in the first person that you demand to meet a higher standard is you. You should demand more of yourself. You should demand the best of you, from you, for you. That is self-love. Anything short of that is lip service. Okay? So anyone that tells me, you can't tell me how to love myself, I sure can. But what I can do is I can sit back and see whether or not you do love yourself. I can look at your actions. You can look at your actions. I asked that of a client of mine, you know, I said, do you love yourself? She says, yes, I love myself. I said, what have you done today to prove that you have? Because you see, I always say this, love is an active word. You can't tell me you love me and that just sits in a vacuum. You have to show me. That's what self-love is. Self-love grows by showing yourself that you love yourself and making decisions that support that statement, that prove that statement, that reinforces that statement. Decisions for your betterment physically, psychologically, and spiritually. So when we talk about detoxing yourself, that is a decision that you make for yourself physically. You decide that you need to, because you love yourself, detach and get rid of certain things that are no longer or that are toxic to you, whether it be food, situations, or people. That is self-love. If you're not willing to do that, right, at its purest and highest form, that dilutes the amount of love that you claim you have for yourself. Sorry to be that brash about it, sorry to be that straight about it, but that's just what it is. I know people, right, who are obese, right, that won't walk themselves, but find a way every single day, even when they're out of town, to make sure that their dog gets walked. They love that dog. If their dog gets a hiccup, they run to the doctor. But they won't take themselves for a walk. They won't eat the right foods. They won't stop poisoning themselves. They won't do any of the things that are necessary to support their physical, psychological, or spiritual needs. But in today's society, they can walk around and claim they love themselves. No, you don't. And if you believe you do, you have a misunderstanding of what love is. Love is wanting the best and the absolute best for yourself. Love is demanding the best and the absolute best for yourself. And in this world, and from what I know, the only people that we can truly demand anything from is ourselves. We can require other people to love us a certain way, but we can demand from ourselves the best. And if you're not willing to demand the best for yourself, how dare you require someone to give you their best? There goes the rub. And so, once again, the truth is very harsh, And I think in our world right now, we have gotten so far off from what the truth is that the truth has become so offensive to people, you know? The truth has become offensive to people. You know, someone asked a very good question there. If you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else? You see, a lot of times people think that people who don't love themselves love them. But no, they don't love them. They just love what those people do for them. They love the feeling they get. They love the adulation they get. Okay? From doing things or being around or something like that. You cannot get clothes from a naked man. Period. And if a naked man walks up to you and offers you clothes, you're a fool to accept the offer. All right? Yes, you should place expectations on yourself, demands on yourself, requirements on yourself, standards on yourself. And only when you can meet those demands, requirements, and standards, then you usually don't have to ask people. People already know what it takes to get in because they see how you treat yourself. They see the standards you live by. They see the rules that govern your life. And they realize, usually most people realize that in order to even be in your circle, to be in your company, they have to at least come close to that. Because they know they can't offer you less than what you give yourself. Imagine if somebody, looked at somebody and I'll give myself as an example, right? I know a lot of people who are friends of mine who are very mindful of us going out to eat and where we go out to eat because they believe that I will not eat certain things because they've been to my house and see how I eat. So they know that if we can't go here, he's not really going to eat that. He's not going to eat that, I don't even have to say that. I demonstrated what I do for me. Okay? A lot of times when you have a certain level of self-respect, because this all goes back to self-respect, I always talk about this. Self-respect and self-love are intertwined. When you have a certain level of self-respect and you carry yourself in a certain way, you respect yourself in a way, you govern yourself in a certain way, and people step back and they look at you, they know what's not going to happen between you and them. And yes, sometimes you may have to remind some people, but those are the people who are incapable of seeing the obvious, all right? And that happens sometimes. But in most cases, people are, people know. People know from how you carry yourself, how you treat yourself. But there's a certain level of delusion, right, that allows people to use words like, know your worth, I know my worth, but have that be an empty statement. Do you really know your worth? What is your worth? Is this all your worth right now that you are, that you're giving, that you're showing? Is this what you're worth? Is this what you're proud of to claim as your worth? With all the talents, the skills, and the abilities that you have, is this all the best you have to offer? Is this the best you can do? A lot of people don't want to have that, don't want to ask themselves those questions. A lot of people don't want to face that level of scrutiny. And this is not me scrutinizing you. This is you looking in the mirror and asking yourself this question. Is this the best I got? Of course they get triggered, and you're right. They get triggered because they know they're capable of more. Okay? People don't want to hear the truth. You know why? Because the truth requires change in most instances. And people don't want to change. People want to delude you into thinking that they're good with where they are. People want to be able to pretend as if it's all cool and all sweet, where in actuality they know good and damn well they're not happy with where they are. They don't love the situation that they're in. But it's much easier to play the victim. It's much easier to pretend as if. It's much easier to be loud and brash about it than to actually do the work to change it. It's easier to be fake. Okay? It's easier to be fake. It's easier to put on the different disguises. Let's just leave it at that. The different disguises and contraptions, right? It's easier to get the surgery. It is. Than to actually fix what's going on the inside. You know? It's easier to scream from the mountaintop, you know, you don't know my worth, and because of that, I'm not going to even bother myself. You're not going to bother yourself because no one is willing to pay your ridiculous, stupid price for something that is not worth it. So you know it was a waste of your time. And you're just mad because people are not stupid enough to buy into that. Call it what it is. And maybe in that, you'll accept some accountability for where you are. And then you will assume the responsibility to change it. And the moment you start to change it, guess what? You actually feel better. You feel more worthy. You actually start to love yourself. And that love grows every single day when you take actions to better your physical, your psychological, and your spiritual health. Look around you. The action. What are the things you do on a daily basis that reinforce, let's say, your spiritual health? Where are you spiritually? You know, what is your connection that you have with you and, you know, the world? How do you feel about your role in the world? What is the energy that you're bringing to this world? Do you think you're bringing good, positive energy to this world? Or do you think you just get to be a cancer, a disgruntled person walking around scowling and not offering anything positive to the world? What is your world? What is your role? What is your vibration? Are you adding to the upward vibration or the downward pull? What is your energy that you're bringing? Would you like to receive the energy that you give out? Psychologically, are you truly at peace with yourself? Because people who are at peace with themselves are not usually at war with everyone else. Are you at peace with yourself psychologically? You know? Because usually that lack of peace that one has comes from a lack of congruence. All right, now talk about congruence. Congruence is when what you believe matches up with what you think, and what you think matches up with what you say, and what you say matches up with what you do. It's called congruence. All right? Many people believe some things that they don't even think. And then God knows what you actually say, and then you do something totally different that contradicts it all. How do you expect to have balance, peace, and congruence in your life? That's why everything's off. That's why you're depressed. You believe you should have certain things, but you don't think you're worthy of it. You say you are, but then you turn around and do things contrary. You're all over the place. What's it gonna be? Do you truly love yourself? Show me. What did you do today? What did you do yesterday? What have you done over the last month? Name me one improvement you've made in your life over the last month that proves that you love yourself. One way that you have gotten better. Okay? And people, I cut people off, I do all that stuff like that. You ever consider that you might be the toxic one? You may be the one that's constantly bringing the negativity. You ever thought about you cutting them off? Maybe it was you doing them a favor? Have you checked yourself to see that you're not the toxic one? What have you done? What have you done for yourself physically? Do you eat right? Do you drink enough water? Do you take care of your body? Or is your body just a cesspool of old, toxic, processed food that you eat out of stress to drown your sorrows about the situation that you're in, and you refuse to clean it, you refuse to do anything about it? It's like a messy house that you just walk around and just drop trash all over the place. But then you want to say, I love my body. Do you? Does it look like you do? When was the last time you cleaned your body? What actions have you taken over the last 30 days to prove to me that you love your body? You know, besides buying a new waist trainer or some new quick fix thing, you know, what are you doing? Because that's where the active part of love comes in. That's where the show me part comes in. Show me, what are you doing? Do you use every excuse in the world as to why you can't do this? Why life is so stressful? As if everybody's life is so easy. The people who are in shape. I love people who say, you know, I'm a businessman, I'm a dad. So all of us who are in shape that take care of ourselves, we ain't got no job, we ain't got no kids, we ain't got no responsibilities. All we got to do is wake up in the morning, eat, and work out. Our lives are stress-free. No duties. Or you're just looking for every excuse in the world to not accept responsibility for the fact that you are where you are because of you. And the moment you say that, I am where I am because of me, I did this, you can automatically say right behind that, and I refuse to continue to do this. I will get out of this. Why? Because I'm better than this. I deserve better than this. And the only person that's going to give that to me is me. Why? Because I'm the one that put me here. I'm the one that put me here. I can inspire you all day long, guys. But I can't make you do right by you. All the people out here selling you motivation, fool's gold. You're not going to be motivated every day to do this. It's a duty you owe yourself. You don't have to be motivated to do a duty. It is something that you owe. I wake up every day with a task. I owe the world my best. I owe myself my best. And every day I ask myself that question. Did I do my best? And you know what? Some days I'm honest with myself. I come up a little short. That's okay. It's tomorrow. But you got to be mindful of how many of those that's okay days you have. Because after a while, it's not okay to continue to perform less than what you're worth. It becomes a pattern. So any day that I don't perform up to my task, I double task myself the next day. I do more. Because more is required. I don't look to anybody else to give me gratification or adulation or praise for the things that I do. I'm my worst critic, harshest critic, unforgiving. Why? Because I know I'm better. Just like you know you're better. So why you get mad when somebody tells you that you're better? You know you're better. Does it scare you that much that you're actually letting your potential go to waste? Hold yourself accountable. Because once again, self-love is nothing without accountability. All right? And people always want to, compassion. If you think having compassion for someone in their situation is somehow some kind of excuse or segue into them not being accountable, no, I have compassion. I have all the compassion for people in particular situations. I talk about that all the time. You don't know what people have been through to get them where they are, right? A lot of people went through a lot to get to where they are, to get to, being overweight, to get to being in states of just not being good. And yes, I'm very compassionate towards them. But let's not misunderstand what that means. My being compassionate does not mean I'm willing to accept you remaining there. I understand how you got there. Okay? And I understand the road back is long. I understand the road back is hard. But I also know that it's necessary. And yes, I'm willing to help you. But no, I am not willing to accept you staying there. Things happen in life. We all get knocked down. Some of us further than others. Okay? That does happen. And sometimes, yes, it is your fault. That does happen. No one is void of mistakes. All right? Everyone's made a mistake. Everyone's done things. And some people's mistakes cost them more than others. That's true. All right? But your mistakes don't define you. It is what you do afterwards. Your errors, I shouldn't even say your failures, all right? Because you haven't failed as long as you still try. Your missteps don't define you. Those are lessons, okay? But what happens now, okay, is now we have to do things in our own best interest to move ourselves further forward, physically, psychologically, spiritually. And now the question is, are you going to do that? Are you going to take accountability and accept responsibility to do that? And that is my hope. Don't let these people lull you to sleep thinking that you can say I love myself but not have to prove it. Not have to show any evidence of said love. That's garbage. Get to work.